What is up, everybody? And welcome back. Welcome back to another edition, another episode of Meet on the 50. We just had week 9, so you know what it must mean. It is our review episode, and we are back to break down the action. Let's not waste any time. So let's just start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back. Like I said, to another edition, another episode of Meet on the 50. We are back to break down this last week in the NFL, right? We just had week 9, and we are here to break down the action. As always, joining me to do this, one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how you doing?
Yep, I'm doing good. Well rested after a bye week. I needed that. So just looking forward to going to the game on Sunday. So the 49ers game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. Nice. Very, very nice. You got a haircut, I see. Looking good. You're ready for the game?
Needed it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's times like these, man. Sometimes you don't get things are so busy this time of the year. Sometimes it's difficult to get to the store, to get a haircut, whatever it may be.
Well, like your Niners, you're looking sharp, and we are ready for week number 10. But first, we got to talk about week 9. It was a very nice week for you. It was a luxury week for you because you could just chill on the couch, watch the games, and not have a care in the world at what happened. So, very nice for that bye. I will enjoy the bye this week, but we got some stuff to talk about that happened last week. So let's quickly remind them of how we did last week. For yourself, 8-5, 1-0 on the guaranteed victory. For myself, 8-5, 1-0 on the guaranteed victory. Decent week overall for the season, though. That puts us at, for yourself, 75, 60, and 1, 6-3 on the guaranteed victories. For myself, 79, 56, and 1, 7, 1, and 1 on the guaranteed victories. Sitting well above 500 now. Looking good, right? For yourself, 15 games above 500. For myself, what's that? 13 games above 500. So we are looking good right now, or even more than that. It's like 18 games above 500. I can't do math, right? I only know sports. All right, let's just wipe those off the screen. Let's get into the action, right? Let's get into the action. So, starting us off yesterday, okay, I'll come out and say it. I will come out and say it. I think we both can agree that you and I learned nothing new from the outcome of yesterday's victory, the Ravens over the Saints. So, my question for you is just give me your assessment of the Ravens in the first half of the season.
Yeah, no, they've kind of just performed where I thought they would be. I think they lack a receiving core. I thought that they would kind of struggle a little bit. I thought that it would be a battle between them and the Bengals in the AFC North. So I'm not surprised at all. They're right where I thought they'd be.
Yeah, I completely agree. Getting Deshaun Jackson, we'll see how that does it. We'll see what that does for them the rest of the season. Now, I mean, the biggest key is Lamar Jackson, right? I think he's like 7th or 8th in rushing in the NFL. So as a quarterback, right, mind you. So the Ravens are going to go as far as Lamar Jackson takes them, right? There's some teams that are going to go as far as certain players are going to take you. I think the Ravens are one of them. Lamar Jackson, we'll see what happens. He's playing great, though. I mean, you can't knock his play. He's playing absolutely outstanding. That Ravens defense managed not to choke that game away yesterday. So heading into their bye with a victory, they can rest easy, right? They're atop of the division right now, number 1 in the AFC North. We'll see what happens the second half of the season. I think the Bengals are going to be right on their coattails for that division title. We'll see what happens with Cleveland when a certain somebody comes back, right? Felony hands. We'll see what happens with them. And then with the Steelers. Steelers are done. Can't wait to see Mike Tomlin get his first losing record ever. So we'll see what happens with the Ravens heading out of their bye. But so far, yeah, heading into their bye, right? They need a receiving core. Defense, lackluster here and there. Saving grace, Lamar Jackson. Not really too much to really deep dive there on the Ravens, right? It's very simple, very surface team there, right? So let's quickly go back to Thursday. I know I said I was going to do it, but I can't do it because I do not see a dumpster fire when I look at the Houston Texans. Maybe it was those red helmets. Maybe they kind of shocked and awed me with those red jerseys and those red helmets. I was kind of liking that combo, but they compete. They compete all 4 quarters. They're not a team that just folds up shop and then just lets the other team do whatever they want. They compete the entire game. So we're going to hold off for now, Houston. You've done enough. You've done enough for now in my book. So I like Houston. They're a team on the rise, obviously, when they get more pieces. But some thoughts on the Eagles staying undefeated. It was expected. So,
obviously the Philadelphia Eagles are, quite frankly, the best team in the NFL right now as far as consistency. But I do have to say, I'm just going to be completely transparent, and obviously they don't choose their schedule, but That is by far one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen. So I'm just saying that That doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have that. I would love to have a schedule like that because, I don't know would we be 8-0? I don't know. Probably not. We might be like 6-2, but it gives you a better, chance at getting to the playoffs. So when I look at their schedule, and it's not me being a hater, the Eagles I've already said it, they're the best team in the NFL. They've proven, they've far exceeded my expectations or yours.
Yeah.
They've done very well this season. Give the defense credit, give both sides of the football credit. Jalen Hurts is playing well. Yep. AJ Brown, it appears to be a very good addition. And even their run game's been pretty decent. So, but when I do look at that schedule, they have an opportunity. Do I think they're going to go 17-0? I don't. But they definitely have an opportunity to go 15-2, 16-1. For a team to win 17 straight games, when I look at the any given Sunday factor, there's going to be a team that, there's going to be a game where I feel like they make mistakes. And so every professional sports team, for that matter, is prone to losing a game that we didn't think that they would lose. So, Philadelphia. What can you say? They've been carrying their weight.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, right? Right. I think you said it also, right? The NFC least turned into the NFC beast this year. So, if they want to compete with the Cowboys and the Giants, you almost have to expect them to go, or they need to go 8-0, right? With how good of a start that the Cowboys and the Giants have got off to this year. So we'll see what happens with the Eagles the rest of the season. Definitely, like you said, very shocking, right? I did not expect them to go 8-0. Neither did you. So, Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Second half, we'll see what happens right now. Now teams figured you out. There's plenty of tape on you out there. So this is where the defense does need to step up and step in essentially and just make the plays that they need to make out there. And then Jalen Hurts on the flip side. Keep doing what he's doing, right? Run the ball when he needs to run it. Get the ball to AJ Brown. Get the ball to Dallas Goedert, right? And then eventually work in Devontae Smith. So I think what they're doing in Philadelphia is very effective, and I think it should bear some fruit, but we'll see how much fruit it should bear. So that division is going to be very tough. I see going into the rest of the year. So Eagles 8-0. Good for them, right? Philadelphia, it seems to be the year of brotherly love with basically all 3 Philly teams. You got the Phillies, you got the Union, which is the MLS team, and then you got the Philadelphia Eagles all having success in one year. So I don't know what's going on in Philadelphia, but we'll see if the Eagles can continue to roll. Moving on to Sunday morning, where we basically saw most of our action, right? We saw the Sparks, right, squeak by the Falcons. Dolphins having a shootout with the Bears, right? Mike McDaniel basically yelling at Justin Fields to just stop running. And Justin Fields did not do that if you were watching the game. So you had the Dolphins pulling out a shootout victory against the Bears. You had the Bengals, my Bengals, absolutely dominating dominating the Panthers. Really not much needs to be said on that game other than Joe Mixon, right, going off for 5 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 1 run receiving, setting a franchise record. But expected, right? I think you and I both expected them to beat the Panthers and dominate the Panthers, and that's exactly what they did. What we didn't expect is to see a certain first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers, to me, seems to be regressing. I mean, not 1, but 2 red zone interceptions. Well, your thoughts on Aaron's play, the Packers? What do you think's going on there?
I still don't have concerns. I mean, here's my thing. The reason why is it's just you have, in my opinion, and obviously, naturally speaking, no NFL players. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
She wanted to be fed, and she was going to let me know one way. Her fat ass was going to let me know one way or another. But I'm about to put her fucking dumbass on a diet because I weighed her today, and she's a whopping 16 pounds. She's too big. She's like 3 pounds overweight.
Damn,
but
man.
anyways, because she just fucking eats and sleeps all day. Anyway, and she shits too. I have to clean her litter box constantly. But back to your regular scheduled programming. The Green Bay Packers, they don't concern me. As far as, Aaron Rodgers doesn't concern me because he has a bunch of retread receivers. I'm sorry, Alan Lazard, whatever. I mean, he made 1 good catch in the game. It's just the receiving core is awful. It's awful. And to me, you don't even have a tight end. So when you're looking at, your receiving corps and I don't know much about his offensive line. I just think of a guy who lost the number 1 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
When you lose that, who are you double teaming? Who are you planning to go after? That leaves people like Lazard wide open.
Yep.
And so, I just think you got to get him. You got to get him either out of Green Bay or you've got to get him some weapons. You've got to make in the offseason, you got to make a splash. Or you've got to draft somebody that's like, top receiver. And you got, like you guys did with Jamar Chase, you got to get, whoever the best receiver is, or you have to trade for one. But I don't have a lot of concerns yet. I think that, we're just looking at an offense that's pretty stagnant because there's a lack of fluidity. There's a lack of offensive weapons.
All right. Well, you heard it here, right? Brandon is not worried about the Green Bay Packers. We'll see what happens. I mean, at this point, I don't really know if the Packers, well, we'll see. The Packers, right now, the Vikings are looking solid right now for that division title. Wild card, could the Packers sneak in? I guess possibly. It's very possible with Aaron Rodgers, right? Figuring it out with this receiving core. But they did not look good, and he had one of his worst performances on Sunday, and he looked very bad. His arm does not look as strong. He's very frustrated at, basically, you can see it himself, his receiving core, his coaches, basically everybody on that team, you can tell he's frustrated with. So what is going to happen with the Packers? I wish they were the Hard Knocks in season because that's basically the story that I want to know about during this entire season, not the Arizona Cardinals, but you take what you get. But the Arizona Packers, the Green Bay Packers dropping a game to the Lions for the 2nd year in a row. Frank Reich, the Colts, the Ponies, I should say, the mini horses, 2nd coach this year to get told, hit the bricks, you're fired. You are fired. You can't start 7 quarterbacks and expect to stay an NFL coach. Jeff Saturday taking over there as the interim coach. Shocker. I think everybody was shocked with that. I think he was shocked with that. So we'll see what happens there. Minnesota handling business on the road, improving to 7-1. But the 2 games I want to know your thoughts on. Well, you can touch on any game that you want, right? This is our show. But I want to know. You know what I want to know. I want to know about the Jets. Your thoughts on the Jets and Bills halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give, obviously the offense did enough. You put up 20 points, but I mean, give a game ball to that defense and Robert Saleh, and obviously the defensive coordinator on that side to contain and to hold Josh Allen's offense, which is an explosive offense. And obviously Sauce Gardner played really well.
Yep.
Really good coverage at the end of the game, but to be able to hold the Bills to 17 points is definitely a difficult task. But I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. I mentioned any given Sunday, the Bills looked unbeatable. But there could be a time where the Titans come, or in this case, the Jets, I think, are just as good, if not better than the Titans, and they were able to kind of squeak by and snatch that victory towards the end of the game. I mean, the Bills had a shot with Gabe Davis down the field, and as I mentioned, Sauce Gardner had some really good coverage. So really good. They've been doing some really good drafting the last couple of years.
True.
And I think Robert Saleh has, he's always been a good leader. I mean, we witnessed it firsthand. He was the defensive coach when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they did a really good job with containing Pat Mahomes for almost the entire game. I don't know what happened for the last 7 minutes. They gave up 21 points in 7 minutes, but at the end of the day, give them credit. I mean, they've come out of left field, and they're definitely a contender in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that is going to take the Bills down is Josh Allen's carelessness with the football. Very careless with the football this season. I don't know where that's coming from. Once he tightens that up, yeah, the Bills should be unbeatable. But the Jets, Jets, baby, getting the job done, shocking everybody this season. Robert Saleh, that defense is dangerous, right? Like you said, Sauce Gardner, we can say it. He's the real deal. That guy is the real deal when it comes to being a corner. So watch out for the Jets. The Jets could possibly make some noise in the playoffs this year. We don't know. I mean, could they? We could see a rematch of the Jets and Bills. We very well could. Jets and Bills number 3 since they play each other already. But Jets looking great.
It's looking like all 4 of the teams in the AFC East can go to the playoffs because the Bills, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins, I think, all have teams that could potentially, and we know that with the addition of the 7th, the 7th team in the playoffs, it is now possible for every team in your division to make the playoffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if all 4 teams made it. I mean, I know it's still early. We're halfway through the season. There's still some question marks with the Patriots, but potentially all 4 teams there could go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right? The AFC East, the NFC East, those divisions right now are not playing around. Super competitive. I'm very excited to see those 2 divisions in the second half of the season. But the Jets pulling off the big victory over the Bills, making a statement. Now, that is a statement right there. The last thing we saw in the morning, the losers, the Las Vegas Raiders, blowing a 17-point lead, not once, not twice, but for a 3rd time this season, losing to the abysmal Jacksonville Jaguars. Your thoughts, because, I mean, frankly, I'm done. I'm done with this team this year. Derek Carr is not even qualified to deal cards at the Bellagio. Get that guy out of the city. Get that guy out of the NFL. Your thoughts?
Right. No, I totally understand your frustration. And when we did the picks last week, I definitely thought the Raiders were going to win this game. And when they had that 17-point lead, obviously I wasn't watching the game straight up. I was watching Red Zone. So they showed bits and pieces of it. And it looked like they were doing really well in the first half. I saw some really good passes and really good plays with Devontae Adams. And so I really, foolishly thought that the Raiders were going to win because this is the second time they've done this. I think they were up 17-0 to the Cardinals. This one I was more confident about, though.
Yep.
because you're playing against Jacksonville, whose defense is a little bit questionable at times, and their offense has been a bit stagnant this year. And I think they have the same amount of wins and losses as the Raiders, so they're not doing very well. And I just think the Raiders are better than I thought the Raiders were better than their record until I saw this game. But 17-0. I don't know what happened in the second half. One of our good friends mentioned that there was no points scored in the second half. So I just don't know how you allow that to happen. But I think that you are correct. I think that, something is going on with the offensive play calling, but also the execution. Derek Carr, I think that, there's just moments where he struggles to get rid of the ball or to make the right throw and the right read, right? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of checkdowns and there's a lot of passes that aren't really getting you anywhere. So, I think that there's a lot of it's just I can see why you've kind of given hope on them. Given hope on them. It just seems like there's not a lot of
excitement. There's nothing. Like you can't even find the words because there is nothing.
They're not motivated
to like about this team. Nothing.
They're not motivated.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with everything you're saying. Yeah.
So at this point, let me ask you this. Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think at this point it might have been better to keep Rich Bisaccia last year, who you went to the playoffs with, right? And you were, a few plays away from potentially going on to the next round.
Yeah.
Why make a coaching switch at this point when you had a guy who, your team was looking like it wasn't going to make the playoffs when you had John Gruden? He gets fired due to tampering, whatever he did with the emails. He's gone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you bring in, intern Rich Bisaccia, and he takes you to the playoffs. You win a must win against the Chargers to get into the playoffs. I mean, granted, you could have tied, but you eliminated your divisional opponent. You made the playoffs. You went to Cincinnati, and you gave them a run for their money. You didn't win the game. But let me ask you this. Wouldn't you personally rather build off of that than bring in an unproven head coach who never did anything when he was a head coach?
Yeah. I mean, one, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. Two, Josh McDaniels sells more tickets than Rich Bisaccia. And that's the one reason and probably the only reason that the Raiders did that, because the Raiders think with their asses and not with their brains. So
they're very money motivated.
Yeah. And that's what happens with Vegas. So the Las Vegas Raiders, I mean, we can just chalk up this season as a definite loss. Hopefully they can secure a solid draft pick and then we can just continue to build. Derek needs to go. Devontae, I mean, you dug your grave, man. You can lie in that. And Josh McDaniels, it's kind of like he's like the Derek Carr. Like, we'll see next year if he has an actual quarterback what he's got. So a lot of question marks around the Las Vegas Raiders. Not a good season for them, especially losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Looking at the afternoon, Seattle completing the sweep of Arizona, looking like, it's going to be a classic NFC West division battle between the Seahawks and the Niners. Seahawks keep this up or they fall off? Your call.
I don't even know. They've surprised me all year. I mean, I'm getting to the point where obviously I hate the Seattle Seahawks, but I don't really have much to say at this point. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. They're just finding ways to win. And
it's true.
The only thing I can hang my hat on is when we played them, I know it was early in the season, but we really blew them out. So I don't know if that's going to be the case when we play them again, but you got to give them credit. Everybody counted them out. I know I did. I didn't think that this was going to be an issue that we were running into, especially this season. But if anything, if they go to the playoffs and they get bounced, it's only a benefit for me because all those draft picks, I mean, I thought maybe they were going to get like the number one quarterback in the draft. I thought they were going to have a terrible record.
True.
The thing about the Seattle Seahawks is I'm going to say this. They definitely can make the playoffs. Do I think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs? Absolutely not. So everything that I'm seeing right now is irrelevant to me.
All right. I like it. I definitely think they keep it up all year and compete with the Niners. I do think the Niners pull out that division, but the Seahawks, like you said, surprising everybody. We also saw the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT, right? We also saw Tom Brady lead his team down the field against a horse crap Rams defense and pull off the comeback. Does this win turn their season around, or does it prolong the inevitable? What do you think?
I think so. I think that, you're on a losing streak. I think that you're starting to question things. And I mean, a win like this is big because the way that, I watched the entire end of the game. You just never give hope when it's Tom Brady as quarterback. I mean, you've seen it so many times. That's why you have experiences that you've gone through where you've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So you have, concrete evidence that he can make things, happen, especially at the end of games. And so, I think that, when they called timeout, because that play clock was running down and they had that final possession, I said, why are you calling a timeout? Because if you don't get this here, you only have 2 timeouts and the Rams are going to get the ball back. They're going to essentially run that clock down. Well, here's the problem with what the St. Louis Rams did.
Yeah.
The problem is they played not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yeah,
they did not go for the first down.
Yep.
And you don't do that against Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Sometimes, you could even throw Aaron Rodgers in there when he has his full slate of weapons. But there's certain quarterbacks that you don't give. If you got to kick the ball back to them, fine. But you try to get that first down. And they didn't do that. They gave Tom Brady, I think, a little bit under a minute. Perfect pass over the middle. Couple passes to Scotty Miller on the sideline, pass interference to Mike Evans in the end zone, and then just a little fake to Fournette, and then a little pass to the tight end, to that retread tight end, and they were able to get a touchdown. And so give Tom Brady credit, though. He manufactured that drive, and I think that there has been some trust that has been built between him and that tight end, and then also him and Byron Leftwich, because there was some kind of question. I feel like he needed this. Tom Brady needed this. Yeah. I think that they're still, and the beautiful thing is they're in the right division.
Yeah,
so true. You can slip up a little bit because you're in a division where everybody's under 500.
Yeah, I think, echoing everything you said, I think this was a huge win. Now, I don't know. We'll see what happens now. He is in the best division for him to struggle in. Everybody is under 500.
Right.
You have the Falcons in first place at 4-5.
Right.
We'll see what happens, right? Going into the second half of the season, right? This very well could be what they need. Tom definitely needed a big victory. This was a huge victory, I guess, especially since this was a rematch of last year's playoff game. So Tom definitely needed this victory. Does this turn around the Bucs season? I'm not sold so much. I am not sold just yet. We'll see what happens going forward, but I am not sold just yet that this is like going to make everything all hunky-dory, all sunshines and rainbows and all that stuff, right? So we'll see what Tom does the rest of the season, but the Bucs getting a huge victory at home against the Rams. And then our last game, our Sunday night primetime game, the Titans put up a tough fight against the Chiefs, but in the end, Harrison Butker and his leg were too much for Derrick Henry and the Titans. Your thoughts on the Titans after they started 0-2, and then your thoughts on the Chiefs halfway through the season.
The Chiefs are right where I thought they were going to be, but, I just feel so bad for that Tennessee Titans defense. You do so well. Malik Willis is terrible. Bottom line, just the decision making, and granted, right now he's not a good quarterback at all. I just cannot believe. I would say this: if Tannehill played, I am confident they would have won the game.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: there was a couple situations where all you needed was a first down. All you needed was to protect the ball and just get it into field goal range, and then you turn the game into a 2-possession game. it wasn't asking much to score more than 17 points,
Sure.
especially against a Chiefs defense who's not the best in the league. But I think we clearly see that the Chiefs are beatable. I think that we see that every team in the league is beatable, aside from the Eagles because they haven't been beat yet. But I think that the Chiefs clearly are beatable. They can be caught up. It's just a matter of when are they going to have an off game? Is it going to be during the regular season? Is it going to be during the Super Bowl? Is it going to be during the first? But they had an off game. They shouldn't have won this game at all.
Yeah,
they
true.
should not have won.
True.
Definitely the Titans should have won this game. They almost won in spite of Malik Willis, who played absolutely horribly, like just absolutely terribly. Like, I don't even know what he was doing at the end of the game. It's like, I get it. Happy feet. You're panicking. You're running around. But it's like, you're not Michael Vick, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to do some like Michael Vick stuff and or some Justin Fields stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. So, poor guy. He hasn't had many starts. So I hate to harp on him like that, but it's like they definitely lost because of him.
Yeah, that was a tough game for the Titans. Titans, I mean, bouncing back, right? Derrick Henry, obviously being the king, right? Taking the lead as the overall rushing king in the NFL after week 9, halfway through the season. Titans trading away A.J. Brown obviously is the big hindrance to their team as well, right? Having no receivers to throw to. Malik Willis being very inexperienced as well. So Titans, now are they back on that kind of like teeter-totter seesaw of are they going to be able to figure it out? So Titans heading into the second half of the season, a lot more shaky than the Chiefs heading into the second half of the season, because we talked about it. Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, he can make anybody basically be effective and good. So we're not, both of us can basically confidently say that we're not worried about the Chiefs at all. The Titans, interesting story into that second half of the season. That is going to do it for this episode of Meat on the 50. We're done with week 9, right? We are on to week 10. As always, Brandon and I want to thank you, our viewers, for taking the time, for just stopping by, listening to what we have to say, hearing our thoughts, our analysis, predictions, expectations, all that good stuff. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Yeah, halfway through the season, it's, buckle up your seatbelts. It's going to be a ride. The second half of the season looks like it's going to be really interesting. There's a lot of teams that are close in the divisions. There's a lot of, it's a lot of question marks about different teams that we spoke about, Green Bay, Tampa Bay. We'll have to see what happens, but definitely excited to watch those games.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into week 10 and the rest of the second half of the season. First half of the season, your overall grade. What would you grade the first half of the season?
Just the grade of what I watched.
Yep.
Would it be?
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna go a B minus, because it could have been better. The primetime games were kind of lacking. I wasn't really feeling the primetime games this time, but I'm gonna go a B minus. You're going a B. I think who we going with? Obviously the Eagles, best team in the NFC at the half. Who's the best team in the AFC? You think?
The Chiefs.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to go the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins had the best first half. If you're going with the Chiefs, I like it. I'm excited to see what happens in the second half. That's going to do it. We're all done. We're out of here, right? So for this edition of Meat on the 50, that is one of my best friends, Brendan Sullivan, and I am Jacob Crow, the fantasy guy. And until our picks episode, until Friday, Brendan and Jake are out.